Welcome to the Sub Pub Podcast. I'm Dani Moreno.
And I'm EmKay Sullivan, and welcome back to the podcast. We took a little bit of a break last week. Dani has been on the move a lot lately, moving your house in Santa Barbara around, coming back to Mammoth. I feel like you also went somewhere else. Oh, you were in Vegas. Tell us why you were in Vegas. How was Vegas?
Oh man, can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I just changed my microphone. Wow, yes, you accounting that brings all the memories back. I was in Vegas to see no other than Post Malone, which, fun fact, I love Posty so much. And it was a Christmas present from my loving husband. And usually when it comes to trips, I'm the one like planning all the logistics, and I mean, it was a relatively seamless logistics, but got to give credit when credit is due. But my husband also booked a hotel, and it was walking distance from the stadium, which I was just so proud of him for thinking of that. Because we didn't have to deal with parking, but we basically like rolled in the day of the concert, took a nap. This is my dream concert experience. We took like a 2 hour nap, walked to the concert, were plenty hydrated, watched the concert, walked, and then we're in bed before midnight. And it was just such a great experience. Yeah.
That is a dream. We did something similar like that for the Red Hot Chili Peppers a couple summers ago, and I just remember like walking straight to the hotel and getting in bed and being like, oh, because
Yes.
you stand for like 3 hours or something,
Yes.
just
Yeah. I know. And a younger Danny would have worn like a very unhelpful pair of shoes, but I was just in a pair of tennis shoes. And he got floor tickets, which was super cool. Like Post Malone was only like 5 rows away, and that dude can freaking sing. It was crazy. It was a very good show. So if you're a Post Malone fan and can fit that in your schedule, highly recommend it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just like, I mean, COVID was like 4 years ago at this point, but I feel like sometimes things are still moving kind of slowly, but like we're going to so many concerts this year, and I feel like that's like a post-COVID, we're getting back into like, okay, we love music, we want to see it live, and I'm excited for like the summer concerts we have planned.
Oh, totally. And like I bet you guys have more concerts like in Reno and Mammoth. It's like we have to drive to Reno or we drive to Vegas, oddly enough, or I guess like LA. But like our music is a lot of local bands, which is really fun. So like the brewery plays every Sunday, and then we have Tioga Gas Mart, which if anyone has ever heard of this place, it's a gas station that has live music like once a month and really good food for a gas station just like outside of Yosemite. And so we're already starting to like trying to figure like write those dates in and everything. But I agree. Yeah. Live music, nothing, it's like feels like true summer vibes or like spring
Yeah.
to summer when you start seeing live music outside.
Yes, I'm very ready. My first one's June 1st, so we got like 3 weeks until first outdoor concert of the season.
Who are you seeing?
The Black Keys.
Oh my gosh. You guys, EmKay and Tommy have incredible taste in music. Whenever they like post like a show they're gonna see, I'm like, I wish I was there with them. And then I think we were talking about like Brittany Howard is,
Oh, she's gonna
yeah,
be in Berkeley, the Alabama Shakes, like this
yes.
summer.
Oh my gosh. Like,
Too much good music.
too much good music. Yeah, that's gonna be sick.
But
Um,
you're back home.
I finally made it home this oh my goodness. Today's Thursday, this Monday. And I don't know about you, but I always kind of get a little nervous when I'm like back at altitude and I haven't been away. Even though the first year was hard, like every time I came back, it felt very difficult. But luckily everything has felt relative, like I don't know, I just like adjust a lot quicker, which is nice. And I came home to way more snow than I was expecting because for those folks who live on the West Coast, California, just the whole West Coast has been having storms which like you accept it because we need water. And a month from now we're going to be like, "Oh shoot, it's too hot" and stuff.
Yeah.
But when your brain already starts switching to spring, you're like, "What is with all this water and these storms?"
Yeah, I feel like we have gotten so much rain this month. Like, I love it. I love a good thunderstorm, and like I'm stoked that we're getting water. But yeah, I'm so tired of cleaning my floors because my dogs bring in all the mud and stuff when it rains. I'm like, don't I live in the desert? I don't need to mop every week. This is crazy.
I love it. No, I have been thinking about, well, I mean, we'll get into it, but canyons, like being a great example of that, but like thinking of Broken Arrow in Western states, and I'm like, there's, is there gonna be snow? Like, I don't know yet. I think no. It's like melting
Yeah,
fast. Like today is hot in Mammoth.
it's
At,
80 or it's 75 at my house, which means up at Broken Arrow, it's probably like 70.
yeah. So I don't know. When did we preview the course last year and there was still snow and then it was all gone?
I feel like that was like mid to end of May.
Yes, because it was when I got back from Sagama that we went
Oh,
over
so it would
there.
have been like very end of May. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
there was a decent amount of snow, but I think Broken Arrow actually posted a video today or yesterday of like the runs at Palisades, and it was like perfect for spring skiing. We're 6 weeks away. And there's definitely like lots of snow, but it looks super thin. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean like the next 3 days it's gonna be pretty hot. And then the temperature kind of drops, but there's no like rain in the forecast, which means there's probably no snow, probably no snow. So I think it'll be mostly gone.
Yeah. I mean, we're 6 weeks out. That's way too
Yeah.
far to be predicting it. But I mean, I never am not a fan of it being really dry and then just raining like 3 days out to get it a little sticky and then some like more sun would be my most ideal. Um, but yeah, otherwise, how is pregnant life and how is running life with pregnant life?
It's good. I keep having this thought in my head where I'm like, some days are good and some days are still good, but they're like really slow. And like today was one of those days because I did my first uphill workout yesterday since probably, I don't know, like training for CCC because I went straight from that to, New York and then to Black Canyon. And so I was like, I'm just gonna hop on the treadmill and do like, an uphill session. And then I lifted too, of course. And so today I ran relatively flat for my neighborhood and I was like taking walk breaks. It takes me so much longer to recover from like high heart rate efforts now that like, yeah, it was like fully flat and I'm just walking to drink my water because I'm so tired. But like I'm still able to run like 50 to 60 miles a week pretty comfortably. I have to wear my belly band now because I actually did a run that was fairly steep downhill the other day without it. And I was like, immediately, I was like, oh my God, my pelvis hurts so bad. So belly band is where it's at. The reason I wasn't wearing it is because I am like showing, but not that much. So I'm like, I'm just being dramatic. I don't need a belly band. That's crazy. But then I run without it and I'm like, I have to pee like every 5 minutes and my pelvis hurts. So I just have sucked it up, wearing the belly band every day, even though it is so sweaty, so hot. But I mean, mostly, yeah, things are good. I might try to do a couple more uphill workouts just to like be semi-prepared for running a VK. Although, that is also 6 weeks away and I can't fit into any more of my like casual pants. So I have a feeling I'm going to be pretty like decently bigger in 6 weeks and it's gonna be a good huck up that hill.
I mean, are you taking polls? I feel like
Only
polls.
if my back is bothering me, I think. Like
Okay.
because I'm just a way better hiker without poles, but if my belly is in the way, then I'll probably
Yeah.
take poles.
That's what I was thinking if you're like leaning over at a certain
Yeah,
like
at a certain
incline,
grade.
it might
I've
be
been
okay.
doing pretty steep hikes with my dad once a week, and so I think that I'll at least have a good idea of if I need poles or not, like before the race.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I have them if I need them, but in my head, I'm like, it's only an hour, I'll be fine. But that's like
Admittedly,
a lot.
I'm like way more excited for your race. I just want to be at the top and see you crushing it.
I'm excited to like have something to train for because yeah, I'm still at this point where I didn't think it would be so hard to like want to run every day without a goal.
Yeah.
And obviously, like I have a goal of like wanting to come out on the other side still relatively fit, but I also know that like, some women can't run through their pregnancy and they come out just fine. And
Yeah.
so like it's good to have the VK and like maybe one other race on the schedule because then I'm just like, well, you kind of like need to run to be able to finish the Broken Arrow VK in, I'm hoping for like less than an hour because I think my time up it is like 48 minutes. I'd have to look, but it's somewhere around 50. So I feel like I could still maybe be somewhere around like an hour.
That's really fast, MK.
It might be ambitious. We'll see. I might go out too hot and then be
Hey, you gotta shoot high, all right?
my biggest problem honestly might be that I just get really hot because I my body temperature is definitely higher. So I
Yep.
might just have to like start with an ice bandana or something just to keep myself cool.
Maybe maybe we can make a special exception and Brendan will let Tommy hand you an ice vest like halfway
Yeah.
up.
Oh, I actually have an ice vest. I bet I could just wear it the whole way up.
Yeah,
That might
you
be
should just do
great.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
love
a good
it.
idea.
It's pretty fun, like hearing talking to you about your journey, and then I was listening to the Trail Network, their latest episode today, and Rachel and Leah are on very similar timelines, and like
Yeah.
them talking already about like once we have our babies, like what does that timeline look like?
Yeah.
But yeah, just it really does seem like it's a week by week thing. Like
Yeah.
you just,
The week after Canyons, I was like, "Oh my God, is this going to be the end of running for me?" Because I was just so tired from staying up until 4:30 in the morning, like for
oh, I
Tommy's
bet.
race.
Yeah.
And I was like, normally if I did something like that, I would need like 2 days of lots of sleep, but then I'd be fine. But it was like the whole week, like anything uphill was walking. I felt like I needed to sleep for like 12 hours every night. And this week I'm finally like, oh, like that's in the past and I feel kind of normal again. So it's a week by week experience.
Dude, I'd be a terror staying up until 4:30, so being pregnant, I mean, that's a whole other.
Yeah, I did not stay up as late as Helen because Helen paced Tommy, so she did like, the whole night. I at least drove to the finish line and slept from like 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. So I got 3 hours of sleep.
I love it.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, speaking of canyons, um, we know we owe you guys a much,
a
well,
recap.
a recap, and it is delayed because MK was nice enough to delay the pod, because I was freaking in it. I had no life outside of housework and training while I was in Santa Barbara. And so yeah, and we felt like it was a big race that deserves its spotlight. But starting with freaking Tommy Sullivan, MK's husband, got second place in his debut 100 mile, also under the course record, and you guys has nearly no poison oak. Tell the folks how you pulled that off, MK.
Yeah, after crewing Tommy at Canyons, I've pretty much decided that it is a non-negotiable. If I run that race again, if Tommy runs that race again, we will be wiping down at Driver's Flat. We had Tech New wipes at Driver's Flat because most of the poison oak, like probably 95% of the poison oak on that course, is on the Cal Street section, which is between the Forest Hill aid station at 50K and Driver's Flat, which is like mile 54 or something like that. Actually, it might be in the 40s. I don't know. But yeah, so we wiped his face, we wiped his neck, we wiped his arms, we wiped his legs, and the man has like maybe 2 or 3 mosquito bite sized poison oak spots on him. And like if you've seen anything else from, people on Instagram that have run canyons, they're covered like in welts, like worse than I had it last year, even because I think the rain made it even bigger than it was for us. And the rain spreads it more because, like the water's just dripping down your body all day. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you just gotta wipe down at driver's flat. It's like an additional 30 seconds, but it will save you 6 weeks of misery.
Yeah, that I mean that's worth it. Like
Yeah.
30 seconds to not be like not sleeping for 6 weeks and just like everything that comes with high poison oak. I know seeing some of the photos, man, like people got it bad and I don't know why it just seems so counterintuitive because I thought I'm like, oh, it's the rain. Like people get it less because they're getting rained on and it's like no, but it just
The oil
spreads it.
spreads. Yeah, because
Spreads it.
I think that's why mine was as bad as it was, even was just because, it was hot, so we were dumping water on me, and I had like ice bandanas, and then I would hike and I would push the water down on my legs, and then I would touch my face. So it was just like the water makes it so much worse. But Yeah, Poison Oak. Well, side note, Tommy crushed it. I'm very proud of him. It was very fun to crew him, even though I was exhausted afterwards. But yeah, the Poison Oak that I've seen is so bad. You guys have just got to go to the doctor and get on steroids. Even last year when I had it and everybody else, obviously had it as well. I kept telling people, I was like, go to your doctor and get medicine. It is completely legal outside of competition. Like, it will shorten this to like 2 weeks of misery. And like, nobody would do it. And I was like, ugh, that's not worth it to me. Like, I would rather get a little bit sick from steroids than have to deal with this for 6 weeks.
Totally. Yeah, I mean it's like getting a vaccine, right? Like some people sometimes get a little sick from it, but it's worth it in the long run. And um, what's it called? Yeah, and to MK's point, that's why it's helpful to like really read what's in WADA because yes, the word steroids or steroid can be really scary, but actually there's a lot that you can use all the time. It just depends on the time, the reason, obviously like doctor's prescription and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, like when you're in competition, not at a competition. So yeah,
Yeah. Basically, my doctor told me last year, he was like, if you run canyons again, we are getting you a prescription before the race. The moment you are done with drug testing, you start taking the steroids because you just have to be, done with the race, done with drug testing, and then I think you have to be done taking them like 3 weeks before your next race. I would look that up on WADA, but it's like somewhere around there. So it was like the next race I was running was Broken Arrow, which was 8 weeks later almost, and it was
yeah,
like, yeah, no, I'm gonna take these.
yeah, no, beta right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of canyons, I guess I just feel like we're going to talk about the 50K for a little bit, but just a quick shout out in the 100K. Keely from Trail Society, the podcast that she does with Corinne and Hillary Allen, she ended up punching herself a golden ticket during her first year of med school, which I was honestly thinking of you because we've talked about that before on this podcast, that sometimes when like it seems like the hardest conditions, you almost like care the least about what you have to lose.
Yep.
And I was like, this girl just freaking crushed it because she probably showed up and be like, I'm just gonna do the best I can today. And I mean, I don't want to put words into her mouth, but just from outsider's
Yeah.
perspective and like, yeah, just absolutely crushing it. But if you guys haven't already listened to our episode, we have one with Keely Henninger and Corinne Malcolm, where they share their insights on how they would coach sub-ultra athletes, compared to just 5 years ago to today. And it's a great listen. So just wanted to plug and give that shout out to Keely.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I agree 100% because I feel like Keely even flew in on like Friday night or something, and most people got there, like so much earlier. The race starts at like 5:30 a.m. the next day, and she just rolls in and absolutely smashes.
Yeah. So yeah, that's huge. And then the other shout out in the 100K we want to give is friend of the pod, Francesco Puppi, two-time podium finisher at OCC, was one of
Two-time
bunch
podium finisher at World Championships
at
in the
World
short trail.
Championships, short trail, one Trans Gran Canaria marathon this year, one Chianti marathon this year.
Yeah.
But you guys know Francesco is a sub ultra tried and true world-class baddie, and also just really thrives in that marathon distance to like 55K. But in recent years, I think he was second at Les Templiers, won set a new course record at Lake Sonoma, one set a course record at Chucking Up 50K, and the dude loves coming to America, which is so cool. And yeah, just like in his debut 100K, lowered a course record by 40 minutes.
And won
Stupid.
by like 25.
Yeah, which is like so wild. So just a further testament to, MK and I will die on a soapbox saying this, but like this like next gen, like not everyone is like young 20s or under 20s, but like
Yeah.
these people moving up in distance, like applying their speed, it's really freaking cool to see.
Yeah. I feel like we should have Francesco back on the pod just to like talk about that, especially now that I think that race was the probably the best race he's ever run. And I think that like
Yeah.
you I think we just got to ask him about his perspective of moving up in distance because it shows that like whatever he's been doing for the last like 10 years of his career works.
Yeah,
Especially because so he won by 25 minutes, but he did not leave that pack of men until 50K.
yeah,
He made up all that time in 50K.
that's insane.
And
Yeah,
most of those men that he beat that were with him at 50K, he beat by 40 minutes plus.
yeah, that's crazy. Dude was flying.
He was flying.
Yeah, I would gather to say, and again, another reason to have him on the pod is that yeah, that's probably one of his favorite races. But I mean, two-time podium finish at OCC like is pretty.
I know,
That
but
would be the top of my list.
904 at Canyons,
804.
or sorry, 804. Compare that to like a Black Canyon course record of 720 with how
Oh
much
yeah,
less vert? It's like half the vert of Black Canyon. I can't wait for him to go to Black Canyon next year if that's what he decides to do,
that would be
because he's gonna
sick.
run under 7 hours, I think.
Yeah, yeah. He'll be like, that was shorter than OCC. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
No,
man.
I think that race, obviously he's had a lot of fantastic races, but I think that was
Yeah,
one of his better performances.
yeah. And he said no to the golden
Crazy.
ticket too. But we digress. Um,
We'll have to get
let's
him on the pod for that.
let's talk about this 50K again, a little delayed, sorry y'all. But we do want to highlight and give this great race some love, and it was cool to see Free Trail highlight it a bit more this year with some like preview and talking with the champions. First thing to note, on both sides, the the highly the favorites on both sides dropped out,
Dropped out.
which like I mean it happens, but it was crazy it happened on both sides. Like
Yeah.
and both with
Stomach
like
type.
stomach type stuff, which I thought was super interesting. What do you make of that?
I don't know. I don't know.
There's just so many things that could cause that, which is why it's hard. Because I'm like, sometimes when it's colder, people like you sweat differently, and like if you don't adjust like your carb intake, maybe you can feel a little, I don't know. But it also could be just like a bug you pick up literally the day before.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was gonna say usually like you get those cramping issues on a hot day, not on a day that where you're like frozen. It was so cold and so wet. But yeah, maybe people just weren't, and I'm not a scientist, so like don't quote me on this, but maybe they weren't processing carbs at like the same rate that they've been training to do it because it's been warmer. I don't know. But yeah, so that would be Jennifer Lichter and Eli Hemming are the two athletes that dropped out of the race. Both of them, I believe, made it to the halfway point, maybe further before they dropped out.
Yeah, I think it looks like that. Jen might have made it to Mammoth Bar. I actually don't think she did. I think she maybe dropped out before that. Eli the same. So yeah, just like big love to them both. Like we've been there, and they've both been there before too. So it's like one of those things where it's like allow yourself to be bummed and then do your best to shake it off and move on to the next one. Um, but that made way for surprise, kind of surprised it's people that we mentioned, but I
Yeah,
did listen back to see if we mentioned Hannah Allgood, and we did. But Hannah freaking Allgood took
she's
the
on a
win,
tear.
and from what I could gather, she won on like the climb out of Mammoth Bar. Like she was with Tabor up until that point. And Tabor, yeah, was leading a very strong race, and Hannah just closed that much faster and ended up taking the win.
Yeah, that final climb is like short, but if you are already trashed, like you can lose so much time there. I think when I ran Formidable a couple years ago, the climb's a little bit longer for that finish, but I think Kimber Maddox made up 4 minutes on me on just the final climb, and I was like, well, shit. So yeah, Hannah making up 3 minutes on Tabor, probably about the same because I think it's probably a minute a mile. I think the climb we did was about a mile longer for Formidable. It's rough out there if you're feeling trashed for the final
Oh.
time.
Oh yeah, no, totally. And yeah, it did seem to, I'm reminded now by looking at her splits, like they went out freaking fast.
Yeah.
Like they were there to rumble. Um, but yeah, there's this segment called Mammoth Bar Down and Out where it's basically like that steep downhill, which I did hear that was kind of the only sloppy part of the course,
Oh, I'm
which
sure it's sloppy
yeah,
when it's dry.
that's what I was thinking. Especially, I had a teammate asking me like before the race, she's like, "Do you think any parts?" I'm like, "The only part that really comes to mind is that one steep downhill to Mammoth Bar, but like, don't risk it. Just like get down it safely, because it'll
Yeah.
be over before you know it." But I could see that being like, because it's just kind of cakey dirt, you know?
Yeah. And it's just so steep that like because the mud in that area can be slippery. And so it's like it's steep
Yeah,
enough that you're just kind of like losing your stability the whole time.
totally.
Yeah.
But like, even despite that, Hannah still ran. I have it right here. Yeah, she was only like 30 seconds off of my time from last year. Um, and yeah, you could see she put a minute on Tabor on that part. So that must have been the part where she made the move. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, and then to round out the women's podium was no other than Kimmy Schreiber. So we ended up having a Terex sweep, and Kimmy thought she was in fourth place. And then she didn't realize that
Oh, because Jen dropped out.
dropped out. And then
Yeah.
she was like, well, that's awesome. And she ended up getting on the podium, which was really, really cool to see. So yeah, very strong women's race. You have the results in front of you. What are the
Yeah.
times?
And then following them is Heather Jackson, Nicole Lakis from Canada, Pauline Lolier from France, Carol Ann Rule from Canada, Emma Handel from the United States of America, Ariane Hendricks from the USA, and Nora Saras from Norway, rounding out the top 10.
Yeah. And Hannah ended up running 3:57, Tabor 4 hours, and then Kimmy was 4:05, which was great. So the course record lives to see another day.
Yeah, it was a lot cooler, but it was a lot sloppier. So
Yeah.
yeah, when I saw the conditions, I was like, I don't like people are gonna run fast, but I don't know if they're gonna run as fast as we thought they would when we were talking about it.
Yeah, it was interesting though, because I was listening to the Boulder Boys podcast, and they said it actually wasn't that sloppy. I think it's in the like it's the eyes of the beholder or like
Yeah,
the person who's running it and if they're used to it. Because like Rachel Drake and I ran Formidable in 2019, and that
when it
year,
was a slop fest.
yeah, and like ice baths up to our stomach, and we both almost broke the course record at that time. We were only like, I think I was like 2 minutes off of it. So it's like, I think it depends, like if you're comfortable with it. Because
And
sometimes,
those guys run on like snowy trails quite often, so
totally, yeah. And then so yeah, huge applause to the women's side, and Hannah's lining up for a 100 mile, which will be sick. On the
the
men,
Western States 100 mile.
The Western states, it's a really tiny race.
Yeah.
And then on the men's side, it was a near Boulder Boys sweep. Seth Ruling ended up beating the course record by a minute in 3:24. And in second place was Matt Daniels, which appeared to be leading the race for most of it. Like he kind of cracked that open early to go.
I think it was a similar story to the women where like Seth just like took him on that like final bit.
Yeah, yeah, which
Yeah.
was yeah, which this race that actually happens more often than it doesn't. Because the year that Hayden won, he took Jesh on the final like climb too,
Yeah.
which was 2 years ago.
I almost caught Adam Peterman on the final climb last year, so
It happens. That final climb is death. It is truly death.
yeah.
And then third place was this is actually a new name for me, but Finian Jacobson Schulte.
He
Um,
was second at Way Too Cool to Hans Troyer, who was second to or who was second? Yeah, to Francesco in the 100K.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So way too cool ended up being a good preview race for some
Yeah.
people. Yeah, I mean, third place in this field was great. And I think from what I could gather, again, this is from like listening to post race interviews, reading Instagram posts, listening to podcasts. Cade Michael ended up in seventh place, but I think he was actually up on the podium until
Until
like
the final climb.
until the last bit too.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, it ended up going Seth Ruling in a new course record of 3:24. I believe he beat it by about a minute. Second place, Matt Daniels, 3:27. Third place, Finian Jacobson in 3:31. And then another new main for me, Coleman Cragen in 3:32. So that was a wow, he was less than 20 seconds behind, 25 seconds behind third place. That's close. And then Drew Holman, 3:32. Wow, that was also 10 seconds. Wow, the third, fourth, fifth place guys were really freaking close. Oh, that must have been so hard in the trees. You probably could like see them and then
Yeah.
not, and then see them. Nicholas Handel in sixth, Cade Michael in seventh, Sven Koch in eighth, Johnny Luna Lima in ninth, and then Justin Small in 10th. So yeah, great, great races on both sides, and really cool to see, yeah, the love being given to Canyons 50K.
Yeah. My theory is that the reason that the men broke the record and the women didn't is partially because of the depth. The men's side, like even past top 10 was like pretty
Close.
crazy. And no hate to the women, still a crusher race, but I mean, this is just relatively true of trail running in general, I think. Like the men's race was insanely deep. And so they went out hot there was like a huge group of them going out fast too. Whereas on
Yeah.
the women's side, it was like 2 to 4 women, together at any given time.
Totally. Yeah, competition always like helps a ton for course record breaking. I feel like most of the time a course record's broken in those instances anyways. And to your point, like the photos that I saw of the men's field from people's various Instagrams was like it literally was a train
Yeah,
of men on a single track. And so when you're in that train, like you have to hold on um
until you break.
until you break,
And a
basically.
lot of dudes broke, I think, in that last climb.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy. So yeah, mega congrats to all the folks who ran Canyons 50K.
Yes. The other thing that happened last weekend that we missed was the race in China, the second race of the back-to-back Golden Trail World Series campaign in Asia. That race looked insane. We covered it, but didn't really know, obviously what we were looking at on a lot of the Strava data that we saw. It seems like they were not on the wall as much as it kind of looked like they would be. And when they were, it was like crazy steep steps, which we thought would happen. But the trails that they had them on looked like classic Golden Trail to me, like they had just been cut like the day before. Oh my gosh.
I agree.
I was like looking at the videos that they were posting on Instagram, and it was like so steep and so narrow, and they're just like in these little bushes, and I was like, oh my God, those Asia races would not be for me, I can tell you that.
Well, the like immediately when I saw the video with the rope, I was like, "Is this a Skyrunner?" Like I know the Skyrunner race just happened. I was like, "Wait, this is Golden Trail." Because
That's
the
so
Skyrunner
funny.
race also had a rope, and I was like, "Wait, no, that's Sarah like going down on and this is Patrick. What are they doing at the Sky Race?" Yeah, it looks like a hard course, but it's kind of crazy because Patrick ran 2 hours and 13 minutes, so it wasn't like
Still fast.
not a super long course. Um, but yeah, when it came to the races on the men's side, Patrick, two-time, already has 2 wins in his belt. I don't know. I think it's Patrick's year. I think we
I
said
mean,
that last year.
unless El Hussein shows up, for second half of the
That's
season,
true.
because Patrick did win the first 2 races last
Last
year,
year. That's true.
but El Hussein was also racing those 2 races last year. So I don't know
Yeah.
if he's just like out this
Waiting.
year or if he's like waiting until the Italy Zagama weekend to open up because he was second at Zagama last year to Killian. So like
Yeah.
I don't think Killian's running Zagama before Western States, but I could be wrong. And if I was El Hussein, I'd be like, yeah, I'm winning Zagama this year.
Yeah, no, definitely. And yeah, I don't know where Remy's starting his season either. Looks like he's definitely training a lot, but regardless, Patrick 2 wins in the series so far. Philemon 2 second places in the
Yeah.
series so far. Third place, Joey Hadorn. Fourth place, Timothy Cabet, who I think was one of the newer Millimani runners. So great for him. Fifth place. Common name on the Golden Trail World Series, Caesar Maestri for Nike. Sixth place was Samuel Kiprotich. Seventh place, Daniel Patisse. Eighth, Pierre Galbordin. Ninth place, Ezekiel Ruto, another Millimani runner. And then 10th place, Bogdan Damian. The thing that stood out to me on this men's race, uh, was a clip of Joey Hadoran freaking crushing stairs again.
Yeah.
And the like athlete in me is like, F yeah, like go get it. But like the coach in me, I'm like, Joey, just like hold a little bit back on the
Don't risk it.
downhills
Yeah.
because the same thing happened in Kobe where he flies because he's so freaking good. But it's like, if you're that good, just hold back and wait for the final downhill and then
Yeah.
race yourself into the win.
Yep.
Because downhill, like really, but who
Because he
knows?
only finished a minute behind Patrick, you know? And it's like,
Yeah, but that one move was crazy.
yeah,
But I mean, I didn't see the whole course, so maybe he was like, this is the spot where I need to try and make up time,
yeah.
you know?
Well, and we know as well that like both Patrick and Philemon are really good at being there no matter what for that final sprint. So
Exactly. Yeah.
it could be the case that he waits until the last downhill and they still outkick him.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, him being only 15 seconds behind Philemon and Patrick, basically, like Joey's one to watch. Like he gets it. But last year he kind of disappeared, like for the rest
Yeah,
of the
he did
season.
this at
So
the Asia races last year as well, and then it was like he didn't race that many more, and the ones that he did like weren't as impressive. I think it's
yeah.
because these are like really, really up down. But go to Zagama, like, there's
Yeah.
plenty of
Oh my
descending
gosh.
there.
I would love to see him on the Zagama course. If you
Yeah,
guys haven't seen, like this kid, I mean, he's just like his downhill. He looks like he's just jumping off of the stairs. It was
yeah.
crazy.
I don't
Uh,
have like I would break my face.
yeah, yeah. I think my personal strategy for this race would be survive and then just try and run the uphills as fast as I possibly could. Would
Yeah.
have been my strategy based on the videos. But speaking of which, on the women's side, we had a newcomer to the series. We didn't even have her in our preview because I don't even know she was on the list or like late at or I don't know.
And I tried to look up like trail results, road running results, like stuff like that. As far as I can tell, this is Caroline's first
Race ever?
competitive race.
Literally out of nowhere. Caroline
Kimmy I think.
Kimitai, that's yeah, I would guess so. Wins the Golden Trail World Series race. And she looks strong, like on the uphills and stuff like that. She's also of Millimani runners. She beat out Joylene Kepingeo, who won Sierre-Zinal, seeming like
And her debut.
her first trail
Yeah.
race last year. And also won the Golden Trail World Series final. So Millimani went 1-2. Madalena,
Another podium
another
day.
podium day. Third place. Fourth place, Sarah Alonso, which I think is an incredible result coming off of her win at Kobe. Especially, I mean, it seems like when you look at the results, this was potentially like a runner strong, like runner climber race, even though they
Yeah.
showed the most technical parts. I'm like, what are you not showing us?
Yeah.
So Sarah, very strong fourth place off of that first place. Miao Yao, who I kind of considered the favorite, in a fifth place. Sixth place to Takaka Takamura. Seventh place, Marie Neve. Eighth place, Lingji Qi, Chinese athlete. Ninth place, Courtney. Man, she texted me how to say her name.
Is it not
Coppinger.
Coppinger?
Uh, I'll have to look it up, but I'll say Coppinger for now. And then 10th place was Rachel Tomajic. So two Americans in the top 10. I'm gonna look up how to say her name.
Yeah, and I was going to say that it looked like from the videos that I saw that the women's race was pretty packed up for like maybe the first half of the race at least. I did read that Miao Yao took it out pretty hard, but then faded. And it looked like Caroline and Joylene and Madalena and even Sarah for a bit were kind of like in this pack, and then it broke up later in the race. Um, has Joylene always been Millimani? For some reason, I thought she was run together last year.
She wasn't run together. I thought she was just doing her own thing.
Maybe she was, but yeah, now they're teammates. So
Yeah,
these two are going to be like a major threat for the rest of the year.
totally. It's Coppinger. I just want to
A
say her name right.
Coppinger. Okay.
Yeah. So two top tens for Courtney over the two
Yeah.
races, which is great. Yeah, they are going to be threats. I'm interested to see what else they go to. Word on the street is Millimani runners literally rolled in the night before,
Yeah.
which is just wild to me. I would be so tired, but I don't know about time difference. Well, actually, it would if they're coming from. it
It'd still be long travel either way.
geography is hard, y'all. Like if you think about Africa versus China, um, but still, it seemed like it would have been pretty rough. But yeah, interested to
Oh,
see what.
oh, sorry. I was gonna say Sarah's race is made even more impressive, Sarah and Madalena, by the fact that the Millimani runners did not compete at Kobe.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's a
Yeah,
clear highlight. Yeah, that's
yeah.
huge. That's
So them being third, fourth, like off of tired legs, and Meow Meow, who was fifth, also did not compete the weekend before. So they
yeah,
crushed it.
they crushed it. It looks like on Sarah's Strava, it was 14 and a half miles with 4,900 feet of gain.
So steep.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, yeah, because there's one, two, three, four, five, six climbs. So it's like short and steep climbs, basically. But if you
Yeah.
think about Broken Arrow, that's less vert than
Oh, I
Broken
guess that's
Arrow.
the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Interesting.
But Broken Arrow is just different because it's basically like one long big climb and almost one long descent with like a short little extra
Yeah.
uphill just for funsies.
Well, yeah, and her time was almost the 2 hours and 40 minutes, whereas Broken Arrow, the winners are running
It's
close to
closer to
2 hours.
two. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whew.
Wild. All right.
Congrats to
Um,
those top 10 athletes. We've got a little bit of a break until the next Golden Trail World Series, which is in like 2 weekends from when this comes out.
which will be at Noli, which is where the final was 2 years ago.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see which athletes choose to go back to that race. Is that the week before Sagama?
Yeah, so it'll also be interesting to see if people are willing to run a hard 30K the weekend before a mountain marathon.
Yeah, because we know Anna Gibson's running Sagama, but I don't think she's running Noli. So I'm gonna guess some
I
people are
wouldn't.
just gonna,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I don't think I would either. I would just pick one or the other.
Yeah.
But if you're like, oh my gosh, with world champs, I have
I
to fit
need
something
points.
in, and
Yeah.
like I wasn't allowed to go to Asia because of visa reasons, it's like you gotta fill them in at some point. But
That'll be a hard double.
that'll be a hard double. Speaking of doubling, I have been doubling a lot. I've actually been wondering if I should unlock my Strava account again. 'Cause
Spicy.
spicy hot take. But speaking of double, something that I have found has been, I wouldn't say it's been like a huge game changer because I've done a version of this in the past. However, I'm doing it much better. So in that case, it's a game changer. But I'm eating during all of my runs, y'all. And the way that I feel that I'm doing that easily is truly with Never Second, and mixing it up between the drink mix and the gels, especially with it getting a little bit hotter. And I have been cranking on the sodium additive, which, to be honest, I hadn't really been using that much besides like a couple of races. But I feel like that has actually, if there ha is been a game changer, is like adding more caps of that. So if I take gels, I just add it to straight water. But if I put in the drink mix, then I add it to there. So if you are a salty sweater like me, definitely check out that sodium because it tastes like nothing. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't make it taste saltier, which is something I was kind of scared of, to be honest.
No, it's not bad. I think I used it at CCC because it was so humid that I
Yeah,
knew I was going to be sweating buckets, and it does not change the taste of whatever you're using at all.
no, not at all. So yeah, if you are one of the folks that has been using our code, thank you, thank you, thank you. We really appreciate that and your support of the podcast. If you would like to try Never Second, or say you've tried it recently at a race, or you've seen it at races and you're curious, we do have a code that gets you 25% off all of your purchases. And that code is SUBHUB25 at never number 2.com. I use it, MK uses it, many of the greats in our sport use it. So yeah, definitely consider checking that out. And with the summer coming, like I highly recommend putting that sodium into your cart as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I guess my next question for you about people who support our pod. You've been traveling a lot. You've been going to concerts. Have you been slamming your Beekeeper's Naturals per usual?
Dude, yes. And like I've been wondering, and I haven't been wanting to say, like, I don't want to claim this as science, but the allergies have not been bothering me this year. And I'm curious, like, because I've been slamming like the the liquid vitamin C, and then I have
Hmm.
the throat spray, and that has propolis. And it has been found that if you have bee pollen, it can help with allergies, but it's not, I
Yeah.
don't know if it's like scientifically based, but that's something I've been very curious about. But yeah, bruh, from going from Mammoth to Santa Barbara to Las Vegas to Apple Valley back to Mammoth, I was really like crossing my fingers. And yeah, by doing, I don't know, I think by using the Beekeeper's Naturals, that's been helping me a lot. And I got home, whew, spick and spam, not sick, knock on wood.
Absolutely. We love that.
But yeah, I mean, let's plug it. Like,
Yeah.
if you also would like to have some bee propolis, which is the nature's super ingredient, helps antioxidants, and it naturally boosts your immune system. So if you don't want to take like any artificial flavoring and stuff like that, get straight to nature's source. Use SubHub 20 to get 20% off all of your purchases at beekeepersnaturals.com.
Sweet. Should we close out this episode with talking a little bit about Transvolcania, which is happening now slash this weekend?
Yes.
Um, we'll start by saying that the VK already happened because we're recording this on Thursday,
Thursday.
which is when we usually put the episode out. But um, I think this is kind of like one of those festival weekends where they kind of have races starting on like Wednesday, you know. And so our winners of the Transvolcania VK, Luca Del Pero on an absolute heater this year, and Maud Mathis is back with a new CR.
Yeah. She ran 56:40 in second place. Sylvia Lara Dieguez ran 1:02, so she beat her by almost 6 minutes. So that's a hefty win. And Transvolcania VK, to get a record there, that's actually something very, very noteworthy because this VK used to be in the World VK circuit, which was kind of like a series within Skyrunner. It was like you could choose to be a VK specialist, and they wish they still had this because there's
Yeah.
so many great VKs around the world. But a lot of great runners have run this VK, so to get a record here, definitely speaks that Mod is in incredible climbing shape. So yeah, super cool to see that. And outside of the VK, there is also the ultra marathon. But for our focus, there is the marathon distance, won by many of greats, and the half marathon distance, which is similar to Trans Gran Canaria, like a great way to sharpen your downhill skills, as because it's like pretty technical, and that's nearly the entire course.
Yeah.
Um, but on the in the marathon, we have favorites such as Shayla, uh, and then in the half marathon, it looks like Maud is doubling back, so that's Maud Mathis running for A6, and then Danny Osans, who I believe he was first or second last year in the half marathon. I'm pretty sure he won it, running for Adidas Terrex. And sorry, when I said Shayla, it's Shayla Aviles, and she runs for Adidas Terrex. Adidas Terrex.
Yes, it seems like the Transvolcania Marathon this year is just like Spanish star after Spanish star after Spanish star, which is cool. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, super, super
Um,
fun.
and I do wonder, seeing Maud, do the VK today, the half marathon, I'm assuming is either tomorrow or Saturday. Can we speculate that Maud is healthy this year and that she might be coming around for these May Golden Trail races?
I hope so. I
I hope
like
so.
it's like somehow I've intertwined myself in the great grapevine of trail running, and I always hear the hearsays from many of great acquaintances and friends who share information. So yeah, I hope Maud is healthy. But one day I'll hear like she's healthy, and the next day I hear she's injured. So I
Yeah.
hope it's the former, not the latter.
I mean, because she's shown that if she is healthy, like, she showed up to the races in Asia last year and won Kobe, like,
Yeah,
pretty handily.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Climbing beast for sure. Um, But yeah, last bit, just to kind of like give you guys the lay of the land of what's coming up, we will do a preview of the Golden Trail World Series in May, which includes Noli in Italy and Zagama Isagama towards the end of May. But otherwise, May is relatively light. We might fit in a couple of athlete interviews, depending on how things are shaping up. But then June becomes mega again, and I think MK and I have learned that sometimes less is more, especially going into the summer. And we will be doing Broken Arrow, very in-depth previews again, probably separate episodes for the VK, the 46K, and the 23K because they are all just insane this year.
Well,
Um,
especially because two of them are US qualifiers and one of them is Golden Trail World Series. So every single race is like super, super important this year.
yes, yes, super, super
Yeah.
important. And y'all will start teasing this already, but once we have the USA team selected for the short trail and the VK and the classic, come over to no other than the Sub Hub Pod for that breaking news, because we will be releasing an episode chatting about those team members, the selection process, and getting y'all all hyped for the World Championships.
Absolutely. It's going to be a wild summer, I'm sure, but I'm excited. I'm excited for like mountain season, like canyons is still like trail season in the US, but I feel like Broken Arrow is like the start of mountain season.
For sure. I'm glad you're excited. I'm like, give me like 3 months before mountain season. Oh, duh. It's okay. It'll come.
Oh, also another race that happens at the beginning of June, so kind of end of May, is the qualifier for the classic team,
Yes.
which is at Loon Mountain.
Centipede scramble.
Centipede Scramble. It's at
Yes.
Centipede Scramble. I always get those two mixed up. I'm sorry, you guys.
No.
So we will also do a little preview of that at the end of
Yes.
this month.
Yes. Yeah, maybe we don't interview people. We have a lot on our plate. Um, just kidding.
We'll see.
Sick, sick. All right. Well, thank you all for listening. We greatly appreciate you. And yeah, this has been the Sub Hub Podcast.
We'll see you next week.
Bye bye.